great. They have done it.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with your instant match reaction to the most inevitable result of the day. Brighton 2, Newcastle United 1. I called it in the preview. Some might have thought I was being negative. I thought I was being quite pragmatic and realistic because that's exactly what happened. Newcastle got what they deserved out of this game, which was nothing. And who do I blame? I'm going to get into that in a minute. So stay with me. If you're just checking us out for the first time, they're normally more happy than this one. But after today, I don't even know where to go with that performance, to be honest with you. But smash a like and subscribe below. Help us get to the next milestone. We're only about 5 subs away from 11,700. So smash that button if you haven't already. Recommend us to family and friends. It's all free content. If you want to be a member, there is an option down there too. And we'd love the support. So let's get stuck into this game then. So international break. The lads have been all over the world. Joe Linton had like a 40-hour flight or something mental like that. Went to go play in the Far East. You know, we come back. One of the worst games you can come back to is Brighton away at the AMEX Stadium. We are shit in this fixture. We haven't won there since 2017, where MOTM flicked his toe in the top corner. Did he mean it or not? I don't know. I wish MOTM had come on and done that today, because that's about the only chance we had to get a goal. Evidence with big nicks in a second, which I'll talk about. But Newcastle have been rubbish in this fixture for so long. So this is how we lined up today. Eddie Howe did not really rotate a great deal, to be brutally honest with you. The Brazilian lads still played despite flying on the other side of the world. Joe Linton's crazy, 30-hour delay and everything else as well. Sandro Tonali obviously played, despite the fact he played 2 games for Italy and had a knock, but Sandro is the best of the midfield 3, so he has to play. Anthony Elanga came in to the team, and Dan Burn, of course, was playing at left back in the absence of anyone else who can play at left back, and Big Nick led the line as well. And for Brighton and Hove Albion, the eyes were all on Yankuba Minta. The shout out to the ex of the player that we let go, that we signed for 5 million quid and spent 55 million on his replacement, who did precisely fuck all today, which I'll get into him in a second. But we started the game. I suppose we didn't look too bad. We played the ball around quite well, but Joe Linton was clear from the start. Joe Linton was fatigued. His touch was awful. His passing was wayward. He looked fucked after about 5 minutes into the game. Brighton was starting to get some crisp passing moving. They were up and down the pitch. They looked energetic. Minter looked like he was up for it. He was clearly targeting Dan Burn right from the off run. Bruno looked like he was chasing shadows. Sandro was just kind of sitting deep, trying to stop things happening. Brighton just looked more up for this game, and Belieber decided to come back and remember how to play like he did last season in this game as well. So they were excellent in the midfield. They basically controlled the entire midfield, really. And we created some chances, but nothing of real note. Gordon got that line a couple of times, whipped a couple of overhead crosses to the back stick. Nothing really happened, as memory serves, in terms of the first half. Brighton were just coming into it. They were getting stronger. We were letting them play with the ball. There were little passing triangles moving, Minter with the overlap as well. And you could just tell they were growing and growing. Nick Pope pulled off a really good save. He flicked it around his bottom of his post. And you could just feel that Brighton were growing and growing and growing into this game, and we didn't really have anything to offer. Anthony Elanga was an absolute ghost of a player. He gets a chance early on when we're on the break. This kid's one of the fastest players in the Premier League, and I could smell him shit his pants from up in Newcastle. That's how much he bottled that chance. Open your legs up, son, and fucking run through on goal and have a chance. Have a shot or square it for Anthony Gordon on the other side of the pitch. He was fucking terrible, Anthony Elanga. And I tell you something, every single game that passes like this, where he does fuck all and he's shit, people start wondering what we spent 55 million quid on. I've got to be brutally honest with you, massively disappointed in Anthony Elanga. Shocking from him, really shocking. But it was clear that Eddie Howe picked the wrong team, in my opinion. Fatigued players from national duty, not kicking their own arse. And then the goal comes. What did I say? What did I say in the preview? I said it in my preview. I said it on the True Faith Patreon preview. If any of you have been listening to that, Danny fucking Welbeck, who started this game. How can Newcastle United not pick this bloke up? Has he pinched Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility or something? Because that's what it looked like with his fucking goal. Brighton stopped playing the ball. Nobody closes the midfield. I don't know what Bruno's doing. I don't know what Joe Linton's doing. And there's a pass that comes through. I think it's from Belieber. And he runs right through the middle. 35-year-old Danny Welbeck runs right through the middle of Sven Botman and Malik Chow, who all of a sudden decide to turn into the Chuckle Brothers, to me, to you. You get him. No, you get him. No, after you, sir. No, please be my guest. He runs right through the middle of them. It's a lovely little dink finish over the top of Nick Pope's got no chance for it at all. And Brighton are deservedly 1-0 up. And you're thinking, what the fuck is going on here in Newcastle? Honestly, half-time comes and he makes a change. And fair play to him. This is the change that he should have started with these players for me. So he brings on Jacob Murphy on the right wing, takes off Anthony Elanga, who was absolutely terrible, as I said, and he brings on Lewis Miley for Joe Linton, who I thought, after a shaky start, Louis Miley was a lot better in the second half. And then we had a bit of play in the second half. You know, we got it down a little bit. We started to play. Brighton looked like they were up for it again, right from the off, really. We started the first half well. We pressed. Murphy was looking dangerous. You know, he was trying to make something happen. Again, Miley was trying to get on the ball. He lost the ball a couple of times early on, made a couple of bad decisions. When he got back into it, he was linking up well, little 1-2s with Gordon on the left-hand side. Looked really, really good. All these people say, oh, he can't play on the left-hand side, Louis Miley. He did more in 10 minutes than Joe Linton did in the entire first half in terms of retaining possession of the football, because he's a better player at that. And I want to see a young lad getting more minutes than he's getting, I'll be brutally honest with you. So we get the goal. The goal comes, just trying to check the timestamp. So the goal comes in the 76th minute of all times. And Brighton were coming back into the game at this particular point. And, you know, Minter was looking dangerous. He got in behind Burn a couple of times. I actually thought, to be fair, Dan Burn didn't do too bad against Yankuba Minter today. I generally thought, I was petrified of that matchup in a 4-3-3. I thought Minter would have absolutely ripped Burn to pieces. There was a couple of times where he did go around him and my heart sank into my ankles. And I thought, this is it. He's done. He's finished. Burn got really frustrated. He really wound up. Very unlike Dan Burn. He's normally composed. He's calm. He's laughing at players. He was proper wound up today, throwing the ball, you know, getting annoyed because he wasn't getting the cover and support from Joe Linton in the first half to deal with Minter. You know, and Gordon as well was off wandering, trying to do things at the other end of the pitch rather than tracking back and doing something. But I thought he generally dealt with Minter quite well. There's a couple of flash points when Minter could have done something, but I thought Dan Burn did a little bit better there than I would have expected today. So I'm not going to give Dan Burn any stick. But the goal comes in the 76th minute, and it's a nice little bit of play from Newcastle on the edge of the box. Bruno Guimaraes gets the ball. I think there was a shout for a handball before that. It would have been a bit of a stretch, to be fair. We weren't going to get it. You know, the referee didn't do anything about it. There was another one later on where I thought he was going to check, and then he didn't even bother stopping the game. I think he signaled he was going to go to VAR, and he didn't even bother stopping the game to look at VAR by the looks of it. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. And then they just played on. But the ball comes through. It's from Lewis Miley. He's got an assist. Fair play to the young boy. He wanders into the box. He knocks a nice little simple ball across. And Nick Voldemorda, quality little back heel. That's the kind of thing a player like that can do for you, can absolutely do for you. It was brilliant. Lovely little flick in the bottom corner. Brighton, never seen that coming. That's the kind of stuff that Isak would do every now and again for us. This kid seems to be doing it more regularly. He's a quality footballer. I've told you before, he gives me the Berbatovs, and he's class. You know, he scored that goal. We then started to press on a little bit, a couple of balls in the box. He's unlucky not to get the second goal. Nick Voldemorda, to be fair, I thought he was really, really good in the second half, really trying to make something happen. And we looked like we were in transition. We looked like we were going to win this game. And then Brighton break on us in the 84th minute. And it's a great tackle from Dan Burn, to be fair. They're on the counter, Brighton. It's a crunch and tackle by Dan Burn. It rolls out to the edge of the box. And nobody seems to react to it. Nobody seems to track the runners. You know, Jacob Ramsey, had come on before. Too many Jacobs. Jacob Ramsey had come on before, showed real good energy as well in the team. He should have started the game as well. Real good energy, you know, up and down the pitch, looking to make things happen, gave us an attack and outlet. But the ball was out on the edge of the box to guess who? Danny fucking Welbeck. Again, the man who has more space against Newcastle than the entire fucking US enterprise has. I mean, what is going on there? Nobody's closing this bloke. He's just done the same thing in the first half, and he hits a shot. It's not a great shot. Could Pope do better? I think he probably could. It dribbles into the bottom corner, and it's 2-1 to Brighton. It's exactly what I said it was going to be. You know, and I'm annoyed because I think for 2/3 of this game, we weren't very good, really, at all. We couldn't get our passing rhythm going. We couldn't do anything about Brighton's counter-attack and threat. Our midfield looked leggy, lazy, lethargic, you know, everything that we don't want in an Eddie Howe team. The press wasn't there. There was no intensity there. For 2/3 of this game, we were shit. And this small little window where we actually tried to make something happen was when the substitutions came on. Nick Voldemorda's bit of quality gets us the goal. If it wasn't for that, Would we have got a goal? I don't even know if we would have done, to be fair. Was some positives from the game for me. The positives were, I think, Lewis Miley coming in and looking good in that game. That's a tough fixture for us. We're notoriously crap in that fixture. I thought Lewis Miley grew into the game. I want to see the kid get more minutes. Joe Linton has been awful this season, absolutely fucking dreadful. Bar Bradford, where he got a brace, he's been terrible, and he shouldn't walk into this team as many times as he does. Bruno was shit today, gave the ball away, overplaying, stupid decisions, a couple of rash, daft tackles as well. He's very lucky that he stayed in the pitch, because Sandro Tonali gets hooked. Maybe it's because of the thigh issue that he had. And that's why we took him off to protect him for Tuesday night, which I will be going to, by the way, to Benfica. So you'll have Mark on post-match. And that to me was just frustrating, really, really frustrating, but not surprisingly, really. So we lose that game 2-1 and deservedly so, probably. Let's get into some of your comments there, guys. I've had a rant enough. So let's have a look here. So Dan Robinson saying, Elanga and Joe Linton were a poor choice. Should have started Murphy and Ramsey. You need the creativity when teams sit deep. Without space, Elanga is no good. I wonder how long we give him as a fan base, really. Cab is saying, sick as a chip, not even going to have a drink. I'm fed up early night. Fucking Welbeck brace away, man. As if we didn't know it was coming, Cab. I mean, Christ, I said it. Most people would know it in this fixture. Surely Eddie Howe knows it. What the hell is going on, honestly? George is saying, we desperately need our wing backs back. I think if Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento played today and we have them on the overlap, we maybe get a different result in that game. Big Al saying Elanga and Barnes were pretty awful. I thought Barnes did a couple of things when he come on out, to be fair. Nice little swivel turn in the box as well. He's got more end product than the other wingers, to be fair, but yeah, it's still not good enough, is it? And then, yeah, Cab again is saying, fed up, absolutely fed up. And Roger says he thought it was 1-1, bastard. Sorry to burst your bubble there, Roger. Pavel Pan saying Joe Linton on a serious decline. Yep, for me, sorry, mate. I totally agree. I don't think Joe Linton is anywhere near good enough to start for Newcastle at the minute. Lewis says he fucking hates Brighton, absolutely. Nick C says, you called a score in true faith, Chris. I did, Nick, I did. Sadly, I called on here as well. Miley needs to start for me, says Hyperbole Mark 2. Absolutely, mate. I totally agree with that. And a super chat. Thank you very much, Bonnie lad. Appreciate that. Another super chat from Dan Robinson. Let's talk about the penalty that wasn't, shall we? Yeah, I mean, the handball, it comes in and it looks like he slaps it, doesn't he? On the replay, when you go back and look at it, it kind of comes to him quick, but he does put his hand down and he looks like he kind of slaps it away. I don't understand why the referee's not going to VAR for that. I mean, did we deserve it? Probably not. And in the overall scheme of the game, I don't think we were very good. But that's a penalty most days if you go look at the screen. He didn't go look at the screen at all. I think Bruno was asking him, why aren't you looking at the screen? No interest at all in looking at the screen from the referee. And that's really poor. I'd be interested to hear Eddie Howe's thoughts on that decision post-game. I really, really would. George says Elanga is failing hard. Looks like a waste of money so far, doesn't it? Blue Jody said Miley playing the ball more quickly and positively was a very promising sign, in my opinion. 100% Blue. I wonder how long Eddie Howe will keep the young lad out of the team, because he's coming on and he's showing games there. And I don't know if it was just me, right? But I think he looks a bit quicker. I don't know if he's worked on his pace. Over the summer, he looks a bit quicker. He doesn't look as laboured as he used to. And, that's a good sign for Lewis Miley. Vincent saying, love J7, but he's been poor since the start of the season. Yeah, me too. I love Joe Linton, but he's been awful. Wonder why Murphy isn't starting, says Marcus. He was struggling with an Achilles injury, I think it was, Marcus. So maybe that was the case. Michael McDougall said, I love Eddie Howe, but this to me is a very important season for him. I know it's early days, but we've got to be a yo-yo team that gets in Europe one year and misses out the next. Ooh. Michael's making those noises. Dan Kane is saying, I like Elanga in general, but Murphy still hasn't done anything to lose the starting spot. 2 changes at half-time. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that either. I think Murphy could feel pretty aggrieved to being hooked out of the team. But Elanga's not taking his chances, man. Champions League in St James's Park on the lights, he looks like he's up for it. But Premier League, he can't kick his own arse. And again, Blue Jory said, I'm not ready to say Elanga's shit yet, but he's certainly playing like shit in most games. Seems devoid of confidence. Big test for Eddie Howe's man management this. Can he get Elanga back up to the levels that we wanted to see him at when we signed him? Chris has just become a member. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate you smashing that button, Bonnie lad. Never have enough Chris's around here, mate. Well done. DK, super chat there. Elanga is a 100-meter runner. That's it. Certainly seems to be at the minute, mate. I'm not seeing anything else from him. Dan Kane saying, did we break the away goal curse? We did break the away goal curse, but it didn't mean anything at the end, mate, did it, unfortunately? But great goal from Nick Faltamara, to be fair. That's the only thing I'm interested in. That gives that 4-4 now. Alexander, who I hear you say? Chibbers in the chat. See you, Chibbers. If you look at season away from home, we've been a fucking shambles. We have, mate. The Leeds one's the one for me, Chippers. Villa away, you can say that's a tough fixture. That's a tough ground to go to. But Leeds away, we were fucking honking. I've seen dog shits that smell better than the way we played against Leeds. We were dreadful, man. Dreadful. Did we even, I mean, what did we do today? What are the stats today? Mark's probably got them running on the side there, but I lose track because I talk too much. What have we got here? Shots. So we had 16 shots all game, is that right? And they had 13. Just trying to see what the shots on target are. Doesn't tell me on here. Doesn't tell me on the Sofa score. I'm sure Mark will have on the side. That shots on target. There you go. 3 against their 5. So I mean, they were just as wayward as us, to be fair. Antassa said it deserved a draw. At least I'm not sure we did, mate. To be honest with you. Magpie 50. Our players coming back from the nationals were and looked very tired. J7 should never have started. I totally agree with that. Jacob Ramsey says about place Joe Linton in the starting 11. As long as he stays fit, mate. As long as he does stay fit. And George says no, we did not deserve a draw. And I agree with George. A2 is saying, so when do the serious conversations start on Joe Linton? Started already for me, mate. Started already for me. I don't think he's playing anywhere near good enough to walk into this starting 11. I think he offers very little, certainly with the ball. His ball retention skills are shit. They really, really are. He's a workhorse and he'll tackle Superman if he was on the pitch, but he can't retain the ball. Tyson saying, how started the wrong team? Made changes early, admitting it, not Eddie out, but criticism where it's due. 100%, mate. It's a safe space to criticize anyone here, players or manager. I don't judge you for that. I'll take you up on task if I don't agree with it, but I don't judge you for it. Dan Kane said, honestly, I don't think that's a handball. It was unintentional. If it's in the area of focus this season, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose they are trying to make a bit of an example of it. Roger says, momentum breaker, hopefully. This will not affect Benfica. I'm a bit concerned about that game. I must admit, Jose is due, isn't he? Tyson said, our best fullbacks out are really affecting our attacking balance. 100%. I think, and the defensive capabilities as well. I thought Trippier did all right today. I love that bit when he got across and covered in the left as well, spotting that Minter was going to burst on pace. But if Minter had seen he was coming and flicked it around the corner, he would have been absolutely gone. Paul said, Ramsey and Murphy need to start midweek ahead of Joe Linton and Langer. I couldn't agree more, mate. I'd bring them two in as well. Give some energy in that game. Dave Somerville saying we are so slow at doing everything. And the build-up play is all right, but when we get on the edge of the box, we just don't take chances. I mean, Lewis Miley had a chance to have a shot. He's a young boy, but, have a shot, man. Fucking test the keeper, He tried to flick it to Gordon, and Gordon's chance was closed. And maybe the more games Lewis Miley plays, the more confidence he'll have and the more desire he'll have to shoot, but certainly not in that one. James Edison, Welbeck gets his free bus pass next year. What the fuck, man? Absolutely. I don't know what it is about us. He just loves to score against us. Hyperbole has given 5 Evermore memberships. Thank you very much, mate. Really, really appreciate that. Comment there from Kahuna Lunga. Really early, but Voltamada greater than Isak. I'm here for it, mate. I'm here for it. If you say I'm here for it. David Milner saying, Alanga's no embuemo. That's who I'd assign. And not the upgrade we needed. Definitely not better than Murphy. Joe Linton's automatic start days are numbered, and quite rightly so. Costs us countless unnecessary lost possession. I do agree with that as well, mate. And Tyson saying, worry the Langers. We're not seeing any good decision making. Game intelligence just not there at the moment. Yeah, he runs a lot, fast but shite. I think I said in one of my my other chat groups, my numerous football chat groups that I am involved in. Cat is saying Sunderland doing better than the Toon. Okay, Cat. Let's just pump the brakes. But they are, to be fair to them, it's a concern. Let's see how long it'll last. Hopefully, Derby days when it goes wrong for them. Daniel Ego saying, see if Forest will take a Langer back plus cash for Anderson in the summer. Mate, I'm there for that deal. I'll drive him to Nottingham, honestly. Even if I've got an electric car, I'll fucking charge halfway down, buy him a coffee as well. But for me, I mean, just, the concern here is the players that were signed in the summer, outside of Voltamar and Chow, to be fair to him. Chow's been excellent since he come in. That goal aside today, there was some lovely, it kind of interchanging passes and crossfield passing and breaking up the play from Chow today again. So he did have a good game today with that goal aside. Could he come out and close Welbeck's shot quicker? Maybe, but the midfield could track back and drop that as well. So I'm not going to blame Chow for that. So Voltamada and Chow have come in and done very, very well. But obviously Wissa's injured. Ramsey's been injured. Alanga, the jury's out on Alanga. So we spent a lot of money on these guys in the summer. And, only 2 of them, the Germans really, that's what you get with German manufacturing, isn't it? I suppose, was it Doschbrong spec technique, as they say? So they're doing well. But it's Wissa and Ramsey and the rest of them, they've got to really step up and do something. But I'm worrying a little bit about Alanga, I must admit. P. James is saying Alanga is this generation's Kieran Dyer. can run fast in straight lines, but fuck all else. To be honest with me, I think Kieran Dyer was a much better player than Anthony Elanga on his day. He really, really was. Got a comment there from Roadblocks just saying bollocks, and a nice super chat. Thank you very much, Roadblocks. We really appreciate that. And I do love a bit of a random bollocks on the comments, especially when we get beat. Unless you say I'm talking bollocks, that's entirely right. If you are to, mate, if you are to. But yeah, for me, I'm just disappointed in that. I really, really am. Very, very disappointed in that. Dan is saying to me, Chris, would you trade Gordon and Vlack and Demos back to get Minter and Anderson back? Yes, tomorrow. I would do, to be honest with you. I like Anthony Gordon, right? And I had this chat in a football chat group I was in, you know, and people were saying, oh, I thought Gordon did all right today. And I said, all right at what? What did he do? You know, wingers live and die by chances created, goal scored, goal created. Just looking at Anthony Gordon's kind of output here, really. So out of 12 dribbles, only 4 of them were successful in terms of his passing. So his key passes, 2 key passes, 1 accurate cross out of 2, 95% accurate passes, but a lot of those passes were, you know, weren't really in a dangerous area. So I like Anthony Gordon, but we have a tendency as Newcastle fans to big our players up probably beyond the ability that they actually are. And that is the case with Gordon sometimes. I don't see a lot of output from him. And I see a lot of running, a lot of endeavour, a lot of, you know, excitement, you know, but not really a lot of end product, you know. As much as Maxi got shit, you know, and Maxi was frustrating as hell, you know, he would cut inside, do 2 players and either put a chance in the play for somebody or score a goal, you know. So you've got to say you want end product from your wingers. You really, really do. Comment there from Paul saying you missed out pass for their second. That ball took the whole midfield out. That ball can't happen. Shocking. Yeah, I do agree with that, Paul, as well. Yeah, I think we said that as well, didn't we, in the preview? You know, the way that Brighton can tactically switch things up, and we just didn't adapt to it. We just didn't do it, you know. Tune to the moon, what a name. Love that, mate. I like Gordon, but he's a bit too predictable. I've said this about Gordon all along, Tune. You know, Mark's the first person to quote me if I go back and watch any of our old videos. He needs a trick. He doesn't have a trick. That is Anthony Gordon's biggest problem. He does not have a trick to beat a player. He really, really doesn't. Roadblock is just another super chat. Thank you, mate. Not me, the performance bollocks. Thank you very much for clarifying that, mate. I wasn't going to cry, but you know, I'm glad that you like what I'm saying, mate. So thank you very much for that. Always appreciate it. Mark is now just reminding you all we are 1 sub away from 11,700. So if you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Please do, as he says, because that will help us get to the 11,700 mark. Then we've got 300 more to get to 12,000. We've got some wicked prizes I want to give away for 12,000. So you need to be in that to win that, guys. So yes, recommend us and get us there as quick as you can. Molly Bruce is saying at the risk of sounding defeatist, these are the games we need to pick up points from if we're going to threaten the top 5. I think top 5's looking a pipe dream, Monty, at the minute. I really do. You know, I know it's early in the season, but if we can't beat Leeds United at Elland Road and we can't show up to Brighton and put a better performance in than that, then I'm sorry, but you know, I don't think we're going to be a top 5 side this season. I really, really don't. Michael McDougall saying Semenyo is the only one we should have broken the bank for. Every fan knew it. What a shout that is, Michael. He is. Look how well he's playing this season as well. And nobody else seemed to be near it. You know, nobody else seemed to go near him. You know, there was obviously a little bit of talk about Spurs being in from Thomas Frank being interested in him, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. And my God, what a signing he would have been. Maybe go for him again. I'd go for Bowen at West Ham if they're going to struggle as well. I know he's getting a bit on, but he's still a class player. P. James is saying, Miley, this is, he has to correct himself. Blow. Needs to be played ahead of Joe Linton from now on. 100% agree, mate. Couldn't agree more. Look at Anderson's progress. If he'd stayed, he would have been on the bench every week. Absolutely. Absolutely. Lewis Miley is much better with the ball than Joe Linton, and that is factual. In a game where we need to control the ball and use the possession well, Lewis Miley's the man. Joe Linton is great when we don't have the ball, when playing against City or Arsenal or Liverpool and teams like that where they're going to control possession, maybe even Chelsea, where we have to snap back at them, press them, get in their faces, be aggressive. That's Joe Linton's game. Lewis Miley, all the other games, he's the man for me. I like Jacob Ramsey as well, but not seen enough of him yet. Injuries are a little bit of a concern. Lewis Miley needs more minutes, man. That kid is a quality player, and we need to see more of that player. We really, really do. Oh dear, I think we've had our first how out of the season from is it Sir Fistque? How out, fuck's sake. Time to get a proper manager in. Come in first for myself, Bruno Langa, J7, and get proper midfielders. Oh dear. Not very happy. Not very happy. It's hard to tell if somebody's actually genuinely being serious there or taking a piss. But if you are upset with the manager, that is entirely up to you. Sean Taylor saying if Bruno Jones Sandro went to play out of Mongolia and came back 5 minutes before kick-off, he would play them. He would because it's Eddie's favourites, and that's what he does. And that's frustrating. Always has been. Chips is saying Gordon only plays well for England. He goes missing for us. Oh dear. Sounds like somebody else used to play for us, wasn't it? Didn't he wear number 10 as well? George says we're going to be mid-table this season. Oh, dearie me. Not good at all. Why weren't we in for Mateta this summer? Awesome striker, says P. James. Yeah, I do like Mateta. I think Mateta's a great player. But for me, I think, I'm happy with Big Nick. I think Big Nick's been excellent for us. He's pulled us out the shit on a few occasions. Let's be honest with you. If it wasn't for Big Nick Voltemada, we probably wouldn't have won the Wolves game either. Do you know what I mean? He got us off on the mark against USG as well. So, Big Nick's doing the business. It's the guys around him that are the problem. Chris is saying start Miley before Big Joe. Couldn't agree more, Bonnie lad. Could not agree more. I have a feeling that's what's going to be in my aftermath as well. If you guys are fans of True Faith as well, I am going to go and do a show with them tomorrow, which will be on their YouTube channel as a free show later on in the day. I think it is, or the day after. So stay tuned to that because I'll be giving my opinion about this game with the True Faith crew as well. So if you like what I say about games, make sure you check that one out as well, guys. Tyson saying, do we persist with Miley ahead of Big Joe developing more in game time? We do, Tyson. For me, I'm calling it right now. No more Big Joe. Lewis Miley against Benfica for me. Thank you very much. Takura says that Miley cost us the second goal, man. But he set up our goal, Takura, so he's kind of bounced out. How many goals has Joe Linton cost us, mate? Losing the ball like he does. I'm not arguing with Tacoin, but you can't do the kid over. He grew back into the game after that shows character. He does more with the ball than Joe Linton does. All Joe Linton does with the ball is fucking lose it. How many times did Joe Linton actually lose the ball when he was playing? Let's have a look here. How many times did Joe Linton lose the ball? Let's have a look here. He lost. Where did he lose the ball? Let's have a look here. I don't like what SofaScore have done with the he lost the ball 8 times. Right, that's Sandro Tonali. When the hell did he lose the ball? What have they done? What have SofaScore done with the raps here? So Joe Linton lost the ball 6 times when he was on the pitch. What did Lewis Miley do? Let's have a look. Lewis Miley lost the ball twice. So Lewis Miley played 39 minutes and lost the ball twice. So that tells you he's much better in possession than Joe Linton is, to be fair. And I think your eyes should tell you that. The eyes test should tell you that. Magpie 50 is saying, for some reason, we never play well at Brighton. Got memories of the Dell. I remember that. Jesus. Matt Letitia, Christ, he broke so many hearts. It's always down there, and the injuries are hurting us badly. Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. So a couple more comments, guys, before we do one for the night. Let's have a look. Dave Tilbrook is saying, not happy with that at all. Yep, absolutely. I'm not happy with it either. Tyson's saying Ramsey has more skill, but can he stay fit? That's the worry for me. That's the real worry for me. I just worry he might be another Joe Willock. That's my problem with Ramsey. I hope I'm wrong. The Bearded Tuna fan is saying, really poor, Chris, and I'm worried we're now in big trouble. I'm not sure we're in big trouble yet, but I think this thought of Champions League football, we may need to readdress the balance there. I've got to be honest with you because I'm not entirely sure that we've got a good enough squad to get there, as well as playing the Champions League this season. Takura said Miley wasn't there where he should have been for the goal. That's the most critical thing here. He's young though, isn't he, Coin? He's young, so I'm not making it an excuse, but you got to caveat it by saying he's a young lad. He's going to make mistakes like that. Joe Linton's a 27-year-old professional. You should know better than the stuff that he does and loses the ball all the time. So he's saying we were much better in the second half. Where was that in the first half? One pass takes the whole midfield out. First goal, Joe Linton, crap. Miley, much better. Alanga, crap. Murphy, much better. I think that's the decisions he's got to change on Tuesday if we want to get something out of the Benfica game. Chrissy said Miley doesn't lose the ball like Big Joe because Miley passes backwards and sideways. Not all the time. If you go back and look, Chris, today he passed the ball forward a few times and got an assist, mate, as well. So we can't keep running this kid down. He's not Scott Parker. He's a good young player. Needs more minutes to get more confidence. I agree on the edge of the box. When he shit himself and he passed it to Gordon instead of taking a chance, he had time to shoot. He's got that in his locker. But more minutes will give the kid more confidence. And the more minutes he gets, the better he'll play. Mark said this perfectly before we came on. We know what we're getting out of Joe Linton. Miley's got a higher ceiling, I think, than what Joe Linton has achieved at Newcastle. And listen, what Joe Linton's done at Newcastle is brilliant, from the player that was signed to the player that he's become, but he's not going to get much better than what he is now. Miley can get better than what he is now. So that's something we have to consider. That's something the manager has to consider too. And when he's looking at full-back positions too, with Tino and Lewis Hall when they're fit over Burn and Trippier. Paul S. saying it's going to be a hard watch playing Burn and Trippier from now to the national break. Bang on time, especially as we've got nobody else to play twice a week. That is a worry for me. It really, really is. Dan is saying we need Ramsey, Murphy and Barnes when teams sit deep, and play Gordon Alang and Joe Linton when we're playing defensively. I think that's a good shout. It really, really is. And Chris says Ramsey has to start against Benfica. I don't disagree with that, Chris. I think Ramsey deserves a chance to start. I think he brought energy when he come on. I thought he looked really good. So let's hope that he does start against Benfica, because I say Jose is due, bless him. Chippers is saying we may not get Europa League the way things are going. Oh, dearie me. We're all upset today. Tungura is saying, I see the markets internet working today. SMB. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Sorry, Tungura. I don't know what you mean, mate. You might have to add a bit of context to that part. I haven't read them comments yet. Mark Higgins saying Alanga outran his own dribble. I think that sums it up quite a lot, really, doesn't it? Chris is saying that once Tino and Wissa and Hall are back, will be a different team. I mean, they're three excellent players when you list them off, aren't they, Chris, to be fair, mate? So that is a really, really good show. I think Mark was trying to add context there. I thought you meant they'd gotten a market to use the internet too, Giro. I'm not sure the Mackhams can use the internet, can they? Fat finger syndrome. Moncton Detain say, Welbeck always scores. Oh, right, okay. What is this? And they believe their own hype. Oh, we call back. Is that a Mackham then? Is that what you're talking about, guys? I don't know. I'm not quite there yet. Block the Mackham, please, mods. And Mark, if you are in the background there, that would be much appreciated. What we've got here. P. James saying, Miley won't progress if he doesn't play. Simple as that, really. Joe Linton has been a tremendous servant for us, but we currently doesn't offer enough to justify the starting place. That's my worry about developing players. I nearly did a thought kind of rant video about the development of young players. There was a big fluff piece in the Athletic about, going to see Steve Harper and look at this lovely facility, look at the walls and look at all this. And they were talking about Andy Carroll and Stephen Taylor. How fucking long ago are they? And you're thinking, where are the players coming through? Is it an Eddie Howe problem? Is it a club problem? Is it both? I think it's probably both, right? But when you've got a young, exciting talent like Lewis Miley who could offer what he offers and does what he does, why is he not playing? Joe Linton's not playing well enough to deserve his position. That is the truth. So Eddie Howe's got a big decision to make, I think, on Lewis Miley, and I really hope that he makes it very, very soon. Oh, dear. Peter Griffin is saying that the Mackhams are finishing above us this season. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's a scary thought. A scary, scary thought. P. James is saying, sick of hearing how mentioning managing minutes after 4 points. Top teams play midweek consistently. You need to put our big boy pants on and sort out this issue. If we can't manage it, then we're fucked, to be honest with you. I don't disagree with that at all. That is something that I think he gets a little bit of an excuse for. John Kay is saying, leaves a lot of bit of design on Eddie's tactics and squad choice. He's got to stop picking his favourites. Totally agree with that. And start oiling the machine because it's breaking down badly. Voldemort looked like he was disappointed. He looked pissed off, didn't he? Did Big Nick, I think, because he didn't get enough bodies around him. Alanga's probably the worst player on the pitch for me, I think, today. He really was. I haven't said man of the match, have I? I've just gone off a little tirade reading your lovely comments. Who was the man of the match? Let's have a little look. Who was man of the match? Probably say Big Nick. Big Nick Voldemort. I think he made himself available at every possible angle to link up the play and do something. And that goal was a piece of genius. So I'm going to go for Big Nick Voldemort, the man of the match. Tell me who your man of the match is, guys, in the comments, and then I'll dive off because I'm on Sky as well, actually, later. Well, what a busy man I am at the minute, eh? Doing this, doing the True Faith thing about, and on Sky at 6:20. I'll be on Sky Sports News if you guys want to check me out and under the old Fanalysis tag that I often moonlight under as well. So I will be on Sky Sports, but let me know. So we've got Dan is saying that Pope is man of the match for him. Yeah, don't disagree with that. Chris is saying Big Nick had one decent ball and he scored. Yeah, and Monty agrees with me. Big Nick, man of the match. Yeah, and Martin also agrees. Big Nick, man of the match. Vincent is saying Pope kept it from being 3 or 4, but Nick's goal. Yeah, I mean, Pope was good. Pope was better today. Obviously signed his new contract. whether you agree or disagree with that. I think it does kind of limit the way we play. But, Pope's been a great servant for the club, and I think he's really come back well from those injuries and those wobbly moments that he had, I thought. So yeah, he's done well. He's done well today, is Big Nick. Big Nick for Al as well. So two big Nicks. Nick Pope and Nick Voltamada is what we're going to say there. Graham is saying, I thought Joe and Sandro looked tired. I hate these international breaks. I hate them as well, Graham. I don't even watch them. Shocking, man. The football's awful. The qualification process is dreadful. It really, really is. Do you know, I'm going to put this up, right? I don't care if you're a Macam or not, Dan, right? Danny Welbeck, man of the match. Do you know what? Hey, he's got 2 goals and won the game, so he probably is man of the match for a neutral, mate. He really, really is. But I don't understand how we can't pick up a fucking 35-year-old wandering around the pitch at the pace he is. I really, really don't. Like I say, unless he's got the powers of invisibility, which he clearly has against Newcastle, no idea. Absolutely no idea why we can't pick him up. Jonathan Voltamada all day is man of the match. Absolutely, yes. That'll do for me. P. James is saying, Graham, Joe and Tonali aren't the only 2 players in the world to play in national games. Everyone else seems to cope. That's very true. Very, very true. Chris says that Pope still worries me when he gets a ball at his feet. I think that's always going to be something that he's struggling at. That's just him. He's not going to change, is he? Old dog, new tricks. I've got a colleague like that. He's already got that far in his career. He's never going to change the way that he is. And you just got to accept it. And that's the way Nick Pope is. Dave Johnson said, Eddie cannot stay in top flight. He's more of a Champions League. Okay, that's interesting. 80s gamer. Eddie's sacked next at this rate. Just not good enough. Ooh. There is some knives out for Mr. Howe, I think, at the minute. Now, I'm not there. I'm not there yet, right? I think what Eddie Howe has done for this football club since he's been here, he deserves to have a chance to put whatever's going wrong right. And he's done this before. He's, as Mark's saying there in the comments, it's a little bit early for that. I think it is. I think he's made mistakes before. We all remember Dan being left back last time, corrected that by bringing in Lewis Hall and playing Lewis Hall. Sandro Tonali benched for Sean Longstaff, corrected that, brought in Sandro Tonali. That changed the whole dynamic of the Newcastle United team. Sandro Tonali is probably the best player we have right now. So Eddie Howe has made these big decisions before for the betterment of the team. He had a lot of shit to deal with as well in the summer with the Alexander Isak thing, way more than we'll ever know what was going on behind the scenes about the way Alexander Isak was disrupting the harmony of this football club and everything that Eddie Howe has built for the last 3.5, 4 years. But what's happening right now is this team right now, for me, is in a state of evolution. It couldn't have been the worst time for the 2 full-backs to get the injuries that they got, because their pace and their energy and their ability, certainly Lewis Hall on the left-hand side, with his ability with the ball at his feet to retain possession and get crosses in for the dangerous big Nick Voltamada as well, and Tino's ability to overlap, be a threat in their box, but also have the pace to come back and protect his teammates defensively alongside Malik Chow. That couldn't have happened at a worse time, getting the 2 young fullbacks injured. But going into the midfield, I think the midfield now is in a state of evolution, in a state of flux, where there's big decisions to make for Eddie Howe there. This conversation everybody has about Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton being one of the best midfielders in the league, when they're all at it full pelt, yes, they are. However, I think Joe Linton is regressing a bit this season. I know it's early doors. It's only 8 games in. But I think Joe Linton is regressing this season. I think he's showing how poor he is with the ball at his feet. He's showing how poor he is with his decision-making. And I think in games where we have the opportunity to have the ball, and let's face it, we are now deemed to be a Champions League team. We're a Champions League team. We're a top 6 team. People give us more respect. They sit off us now, and they want us to come on to them. That's a good shout, Ty. Maybe we should have got Paqueta, somebody who can pick up pockets of space, find those little balls through the channels for players. We do lack creativity. We lack creativity in this team. And because teams are banking in now and sitting in against us, we don't have the players to do that. It's all right, Joe Linton going around and shoulder smashing people and stuff like that. But when the ball's at his feet, overrunning it, bad decision-making, rash passes, putting us under pressure, we don't need that. But we have players in the squad who are better than that. Lewis Miley's better than that. Jacob Ramsey's better than that. Yes, he's been injured, so now he's fit. It's a big decision for him how to make with that midfield, in my opinion. The wingers aren't good enough. Jacob Murphy is probably the only one who can feel aggrieved for being dropped, but Alanga's been poor. Gordon's been patchy. Barnes has been poor. we're lacking creativity in the final third of the pitch. And it's showing. It's absolutely showing. Nick Ansley saying, we definitely have the hex on you. Must be a Brighton fan. Tight game. We were looking to win, to be honest. Good luck for the rest of the season and looking forward to the away game. Thank you very much, Nick. Well deserved, mate. I think your energy, your desire to push for the win, Danny Welbeck's cloak of invisibility as well. You deserve the 3 points today, I would say, mate. I wouldn't say you were lucky. I think you dug into the game, weathered the storm when we pressed you, and then you struck while you could, and the danger was there for us on the break. And yeah, I thought they deserved the win. Again, I'm not going to slag off Dan Burn. I thought Dan Burn, and see Dave comments there that saying even if Lewis Hall's fit, Eddie would pick Burn. That's suicide if he does pick Burn, because Burn will get caught out by a winger. I thought he did all right today against Minter. I thought he was physical against Minter, but there was times when Minter dropped the shoulder, went round him, and he was gone. But it wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be fair. But yeah, I do think that there's a lot to learn. As Vincent says, we need to learn how to control games more. That comes with possession, Vincent. That's why the midfield has to retain possession, pass it amongst the three. If you've got Miley, Tonali, and Bruno, or Bruno, Tonali, and Ramsey who can hold the ball, pass it between each other, pull the other team out, opens up space for the wingers to find space, or the wing backs on the overlap, or Voltamada in that hole. That's what we need to do. And we haven't got the players to do that when Joe Linton says he's losing the ball all the time. Willock's just as bad. Every time we play his teams, becomes too open. And I totally agree. Absolutely agree. Tune to the moon. Burn was proper wound up. He really, really was. Towards the end of the game, he really, really was. But yeah, I suppose in closing with this one, guys, I think we are missing some big players. We are missing the two fullbacks. We are missing Wissa as well, who will definitely add something to this team. That's the kind of game Wissa could just pull something out of the bag and hit a raker from 25 yards in the top bins, or just find a bit of space to poke into the keeper and maybe get you a draw. But he's not there. He hasn't been there since we signed him, so we don't actually know what he's going to do for us. So it's hard to say, that we're missing a player who's never kicked a ball for us, but we're just going off what he's done at Brentford. But he is a big player that we are missing, I suppose. So yeah, that for me, I think it is a concern. Away from home, we seem to be ill-disciplined. We seem to be reckless with our passing or decision making. We're rash. We run out of ideas really quickly. We're too static with our movement. That's something that the team really, really needs to work on. It really, really does. Thank you, Brian, saying good show, Chris. Disappointing result, but still early days. Better things to come. Yeah, and games come thick and fast, guys. And we are back on Tuesday night in the Champions League against Benfica, Jose Mourinho's Benfica of all teams. I'm a bit buoyed because Jose's got a shocking record against us at St James's Park, but he is due one, as I say. But I'm going to be at the game. I've been lucky enough to have a ticket for that. So thank you very much to my mate, Richard, who got me that ticket. Really appreciate it, mate. If you are watching this, you are a superstar, mate. All done legit, by the way, Newcastle United. Transferred over before you start jumping on your high horses. But yes, I'm looking forward to going to that game. So if you see me at the game, say hello, guys. I'll chat to you if I'm kicking around. Mark will be on post-match duties, hopefully, if he's over his dreaded man flu. And yeah, we will be back with the preview. I'll be back with an aftermath about this tomorrow. But as I say, if you do like Sky Sports News, I'll be on there tonight at 6:20, and I'll be on True Faith tomorrow if you want to check a little bit more about what I've got to say about this game on top of this. And yes, subscribe. I feel like Mark's playing the Oscars music here. Subscribe. Help get us to the next milestone. I think we're over. We're at 11,700. Brilliant. Excellent. Well done, guys. Thanks for that. Get us to 12,000 next. There'll be some massive prizes coming your way. Have a cracking evening, whatever you're doing. Don't let Newcastle United upset you. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for watching. Keep it evermore, and we'll be back soon with some more Newcastle United content. Have a good one. See you later.
Celebrate. They have done it.